Princess Helena the Fair. You are listening on YouTube channel named Let's Listen Something. There lived in a certain land an old man of this kind who instructed his 3 sons in reading and writing and all book learning. Then said he to them, "Now, my children, when I die, mind you come and read prayers over my grave." "Very good, Father, very good," they replied. The 2 elder brothers were such fine strapping fellows, so tall and stout. But as for the youngest one, Ivan, he was like a half-grown lad or a half-fledged duckling, terribly inferior to the others. Well, their old father died. At that very time there came tidings from the king, that his daughter, the Princess Helena the Fair, had ordered a shrine to be built for her with 12 columns, with 12 rows of beams. In that shrine she was sitting upon a high throne, and awaiting her bridegroom, the bold youth who, with a single bound of his swift steed, should reach high enough to kiss her on the lips. A stir ran through the whole youth of the nation. They took to licking their lips, and scratching their heads, and wondering to whose share so great an honor would fall. "Brothers," said Vanyusha, "our father is dead, which of us is to read prayers over his grave?" "Whoever feels inclined, let him go," answered the brothers. So Vanya went. But as for his elder brothers, they did nothing but exercise their horses, and curl their hair, and dye their mustaches. The second night came. "Brothers," said Vanya, "I've done my share of reading. It's your turn now, which of you will go? Whoever likes can go and read. We've business to look after, don't you meddle." And they cocked their caps, and shouted, and whooped, and flew this way, and shot that way, and roved about the open country. So Vanyusha read prayers this time also, and on the 3rd night, too. Well, his brothers got ready their horses, combed out their mustaches, and prepared to go next morning to test their mettle before the eyes of Helena the Fair. "Shall we take the youngster?" they thought. "No, no. What would be the good of him? He'd make folks laugh and put us to confusion. Let's go by ourselves." So away they went. But Vanyusha wanted very much to have a look at the Princess Helena the Fair. He cried bitterly, and went out to his father's grave. And his father heard him in his coffin, and came out to him, shook the damp earth off his body, and said, "Don't grieve, Vanya. I'll help you in your trouble." And immediately the old man drew himself up and straightened himself, and called aloud and whistled with a ringing voice, with a shrill whistle. From goodness knows whence appeared a horse, the earth quaking beneath it, a flame rushing from its ears and nostrils. To and fro it flew, and then stood still before the old man, as if rooted in the ground, and cried, "What are thy commands?" Vanya crept into one of the horse's ears and out of the other, and turned into such a hero as no skazka can tell of, no pen describe. He mounted the horse, set his arms akimbo, and flew, just like a falcon, straight to the home of the Princess Helena. With a wave of his hand, with a bound aloft, he only failed by the breadth of 2 rows of beams. Back again he turned, galloped up, leapt aloft, and got within 1 beam row's breadth. Once more he turned, once more he wheeled, then shot past the eye like a streak of fire, took an accurate aim, and kissed the fair Helena right on the lips. "Who is he? Who is he? Stop him! Stop him!" was the cry. Not a trace of him was to be found. Away he galloped to his father's grave, let the horse go free, prostrated himself on the earth, and besought his father's counsel. And the old man held counsel with him. When he got home he behaved as if he hadn't been anywhere. His brothers talked away, describing where they had been, what they had seen, and he listened to them as of old. The next day there was a gathering again. In the princely halls there were more boyars and nobles than a single glance could take in. The elder brothers rode there. Their younger brother went there too, but on foot, meekly and modestly, just as if he hadn't kissed the princess, and seated himself in a distant corner. The Princess Helena asked for her bridegroom, wanted to show him to the world at large, wanted to give him half her kingdom, but the bridegroom did not put in an appearance. Search was made for him among the boyars, among the generals. Everyone was examined in his turn but with no result. Meanwhile, Vanya looked on, smiling and chuckling, and waiting till the bride should come to him herself. I pleased her then, says he, when I appeared as a gay gallant, now let her fall in love with me in my plain caftan. Then up she rose, looked around with bright eyes that shed a radiance on all who stood there, and saw and knew her bridegroom, and made him take his seat by her side, and speedily was wedded to him. And he, good heavens! How clever he turned out, and how brave, and what a handsome fellow! Only see him mount his flying steed, give his cap a cock, and stick his elbows akimbo. Why, you'd say he was a king, a born king. You'd never suspect he once was only Vanyusha.